So you want to prioritize your mental health, but what does that really look like? What are the key pieces of this, the main foundations of mental health that you can be cultivating in your life? In this video, we'll be taking a look at one of those foundations of mental health, which is relationships. My name is Dr. Parke. I'm a psychologist for youth, and here at Through the Waters, we nurture youth mental health. I feel like there are a bajillion different topics that I can cover related to relationships, so this is just like a little starter piece, and I'm just going to touch on a few top of mind ideas in this video, like some of the broadest ideas that I have about relationships in this moment. As humans, we are wired for connection. Loneliness is literally a killer, and it's an epidemic right now. We absolutely cannot thrive in isolation. We need each other, and we long to be seen, heard, and known by each other. We are designed to be interdependent with each other, which means that anytime we are too independent from other humans or too dependent upon other humans, we are not really at our healthiest. One of the things that I wish I had really grasped earlier in life is that we can make choices about our relationships, especially when it comes to friendships. We should be selective in who we choose as our friends rather than just allowing people to come into our lives if they happen to be around. If you think of a metaphor of a house, if someone knocks at your front door, you peer through the peephole and decide whether or not to let them in. Maybe they say something, or you ask them a question to be discerning about whether or not to open the door to them. Some people you might allow into your living room to visit briefly. Others might visit for a longer time. Some people you might feel comfortable giving them a whole tour of your place. Maybe there are some who stay for a meal or help you cook or even stay for a visit in the guest bedroom for a while. This is all assuming like you get to know them, you know these people, right? Hopefully you get the main idea though, which is that you get to decide who you let in the front door of your life and what type of access, what type of trust and intimacy and safety you try to build with them over time. Actively making choices about our relationships is crucial because we are actually going to become more similar to the people in our lives. People sometimes say that over time, we will become more similar to the 5 people that we spend the most time with or are closest with. So when you think about the 5 people that you spend the most time with now, are those people that you'd like to become more similar to as the years go by? Important question. When it comes to our connection with people, the actual quality of the connection, I'm usually paying attention to whether someone is interested in me because they value who I am as a person, not because they value what they can get from me or anything I've done or not done. That's a two-way street because I absolutely want to value people for who they are and not what I can get from them or anything they've done or not done. Mutuality and reciprocity are also 2 words that I find really helpful. They basically help me think about, in this particular relationship, like a friendship, let's say, is this a two-way street where we both care about each other as people, listen carefully to each other, consider each other, and give to each other? Now, there are certainly seasons of life where relationships are gonna bend in one direction or another. For example, when someone has an illness or they're going through a crisis point in life, it's beautiful for them to accept the love, care, and provision of those around them for however long that specific season lasts. The image that comes to mind for a relationship like that is a tree that's strongly rooted, but it can bend with the wind, and then eventually it can straighten back up again when the wind subsides. When folks are not in a crisis season like that, mutuality and reciprocity can be helpful to think about in terms of the health of our relationships over time. Our relationships are never going to be totally 50-50, and we're talking about relationships, not transactions. But it can be helpful to pay attention to like kind of the dance or the flow that we have as we connect with people. Another idea that comes to mind about relationships is Commonalities and differences. It's easiest to connect with people with whom we have something in common, and that's really valuable. But also consider that the differences between us and other people can be areas in which we learn from each other. Differences are not necessarily deal breakers in relationship unless there's a pretty massive misalignment of values between folks. Our differences can make us a team, whether that's between two people, a few people, a group, or a whole community. I'll share one last idea with you about relationships, and this is going to be one of those moments where I sound a little bit mystical, but bear with me. I sometimes see this pattern where what's happening in a person's body is happening in their relationships. And this is not always the case, so I want to be careful not to overgeneralize, but maybe sometimes it's the case that what's happening in a person's body is happening in their relationships as well. For example, if someone has leaky gut, like not a strong enough boundary in their gut lining, maybe they need stronger boundaries in their life with people as well. If someone has toxicity in their body, people might describe them as a toxic person. Sometimes I notice that people with chronic inflammation say inflammatory things that set their relationships on fire. And I'll try to add a few positive examples too, like, when people start working out or they start gaining new muscles physically, sometimes I notice that they actually are starting to exercise new muscles, like interpersonally in their relationships. Like they may become stronger or more assertive as well. That can be taken to a dangerous extreme as well, but anyway. Those are some examples, but maybe they'll spark some insights for you as you reflect on your own relationships. These are my most top of mind thoughts about relationships that you just heard in this video. If you have an idea that's important to you when it comes to reflecting on your own relationships, let us know in the comments so that we can all be learning from each other. Also, I know that YouTubers say this type of thing all the time, and I probably sound like a broken record, but I've been learning lately that if you hit the like button on this video and if you subscribe to our channel, it really does teach the YouTube algorithm to share this content with more people who might benefit from it. So please do that if you feel so inclined. In the links in the description below, there's a free list of coping tools that you can download, so make sure you catch that if you haven't already. You can also sign up for our signature anxiety program called Peace to the People, where we take a deep dive into leveling up your tools for dealing with anxiety.